I'd like to call to order the regularly scheduled board meeting of the Paris Union District Number 95 Board of Education for August the 11th, 2017. Let the record show that all members are present except for Member Bailey. Voting sequence for this meeting is as follows: Idle, Isip, Mathis, Sanchez, Tuttle, and Nofal. We'll open with audience to visitors. And without that, we'll move to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So made.
Second.
Before you go, the one thing I want to just make sure to point out to everyone is the finances. I recognize that this isn't a normal month just because general state aid didn't come through. We're expecting 4 payments of general state aid next month. We're also expecting the second payment of property taxes. So I just wanted to point that out as you look at the fund balance report. And then after we adopt the budget tonight, starting next month, you will see those reports that show the expenditures. I always wait until we adopt the budget to put out the percentages since it's based off the budget.
Any other discussion? If not, a motion's been made and seconded. Would each member please respond to the motion? Idle,
Yes.
Isip,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Nofal is yes. That was Secretary's report.
Oh, it's, we have a sympathy card of thanks from Mary Ann Day,
Family of,
The family of Mary Ann?
the family of Mary Ann Day.
Yeah, Mary Ann Day passed away.
Okay, I missed that.
I'm so sorry.
is it August, right? July?
Forgot one thing. With that, I'd like to also call for a moment of silence in remembrance of Patriots Day and being September 11th. Thank you.
With Mary Ann Day, I want to say something about that. Mary Ann Day was a second day of middle school, and she was great. We used her all the time. Mary Ann Day was the, from my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, she was at the high school as a PE teacher and was there when they started the little basketball
Yes.
program. And we loved her at Mayo. We used her all the time, became very close. I mean, we would even go to dinner with her, the teachers would, on a regular basis. She had breast cancer. She recovered from breast cancer and was doing very well. It took a very quick turn. It went from, into her spine, quickly to her brain, and within about a month she was gone. So it was a very quick turnaround. So we're sad to see Mary Ann go. It was tough for us. We used her almost every day at Mayo as a when we needed them.
With that, we'll move into the superintendent's agenda now.
Yeah. I would like to start off with a retirement request, so I'm going to skip down before we do our retirement presentation. So Jennifer Whiteman has submitted her letter of retirement effective immediately. Jennifer has served in our school district for over 20 years, and we will miss her at Mayo Middle School. It makes me a little sick to my stomach to even see her here tonight. And she's worked very closely with Mary Schweitzer, and has ran a wonderful kitchen. Really, she's in charge, and we're going to miss her. So at this time, I ask the board to approve the retirement request from Jennifer Whiteman.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the retirement for Jennifer Whiteman. Any discussion? If not, please respond. Idle,
Yes.
Isip,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Nofal is yes.
So now we will do our presentation of retirement plans, and we have 2 long-term veterans with us who have really supported our school district, and I think it's so important to truly recognize them. because I think that often they go unnoticed, but they serve such an important part of our school. So Mary Lou Irwin and Jennifer Whiteman have both worked in our district for many years, serving as head coaches. This year, they are both retiring. This evening, it's the honor of the Board of Education to recognize them for their service to our schools and our students. Kevin Knofel, the Board of Education President, will present a plaque to each of them and take a picture for the newspaper. We'd like to thank both Mary Lou Irwin and Jennifer Whiteman for their dedication and service over the years to the Paris 95 School District. Thank you both. So, would you like to both come up to receive your plaque? Here we have Mary Lou Irwin.
I will read, presented to Mary Lou Irwin to honor your dedication and service to the students of Paris Union District 95 from 1991 to 2017. You get a hold of that.
Okay.
And presented to Jennifer Whiteman to honor your dedication and service to students of the Paris Union District 95 from 1997 to 2017.
Let's move over here. You want to get in this too?
Get up there, get the picture.
Come on. I got it.
We'll miss you.
We could have photobomb it, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
I don't think they want you.
Now, and if you either would like to make a statement, you're more than welcome to. You don't have to.
No.
I understand.
I'm just gonna miss it.
Yeah. We'll miss you guys.
Thank you both.
See you later.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is an athletic presentation. Mick Roberts, the Mayo Middle School Athletic Director, is here to say a brief summary of some of the different activities that have been going on with the athletic program.
I gave you guys a hard copy, I'll go through this. If you have a question, just ask me. Jeremy wanted me to highlight some of the sports at Mayo, but also now we have Wings kids in a couple sports, so.
And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this is because Mick Roberts works really hard, and he might have a loud voice, but he doesn't give himself a lot of credit. And so I think it's important for us to, he does a lot for me, and I appreciate him very much. I could not do my job without him, sincerely. And he does a lot for the kids at Mayo for the different activities. So I wanted him to kind of tell you some of the things that are going on.
So we'll start, the fall sports at Mayo and Wentz are included in a couple of these, is softball, baseball, cross country, and golf. Softball, just give you a highlight, I don't like to read, but I'll do it quickly. They finished Saturday, they got beaten in the AA regional, which I want to make sure it's not the one Crestwood's in. They're in the Class A regional, I wish we were in that, but they were in it. They finished 9 wins and 6 losses. It's the 4th straight year they've had 8+ wins, and if you knew anything about our softball program 5 years ago, we went 3 years and never won a game. So we worked really hard to try to turn it around. They won 9, they won 14, they won 8 and 9. They got second in the conference this year, which is a pretty good accomplishment since Casey and Cumberland, those are all pretty soft. It's probably more of a girls softball conference. And Christina Clark's the coach, Darcy Matthews helped her. I want to say congratulations to them. The other thing is this Saturday, we host a lot of IESA stuff. We host the IESA AA softball sectional. And it's at the high school Saturday at 11 o'clock. So we won't know who plays in it till the regional championships are tonight. So that's kind of an honor for us. We hosted it last year and the state wanted us to host it again this year. So that's Saturday. Baseball, they're currently 7-5. They have a regional game tomorrow at the Legion versus Villa Grove. So both of our softball and baseball teams are going to have winning records, which is nice. Cross country. We also have Wentz kids run cross country. We let 5th grade kids at Wentz can run cross country, and we have a few. We hosted an invitational last Saturday we ran at the Edgar County Fairgrounds. Actually, I just came from there, they were running there tonight. We had 6 different schools. Nick Sanders is our coach. And we're gonna host our conference cross-country meet. We're gonna have it at the high school because they have a little better course than we have, and that's October 2nd, so.
And there's very few schools who have cross-country at the
Right.
middle school level still, let alone us having it with 5th graders.
Right, golf is, we also have Wins kids can play golf too as 5th graders. We had about, Jeremy, about 25 kids participated. We started golf 3 years ago. That's kind of Jeremy's baby, but we kind of got started.
I think it's a nice feature. We have the largest middle school golf team in our county and any surrounding county around us.
South of
Yeah.
I-80, we probably have the most kids that play golf south of I-80. We've tried to find matches, but we'd have to go to the suburbs to have, actually that has teams. There's a few schools in Springfield that do, some of the Catholic schools, but some schools around here have kids that play golf, but they don't have the numbers that we have, so.
But we did send our kids to a tournament this summer,
Up in,
and we took first and
Right.
second.
yeah. We hosted, just last Tuesday, we hosted the boys golf sectional for the IESA at Eagle Ridge, which is the 2nd year in a row. We had about 50 golfers. We had 13 different schools there. I thought it went pretty well. The IESA gave it to us again. Probably give it to us for as long. I mean, it was a lot easier to host this year than the first year. Jeremy was a big help. I'd never even been to a golf match, let alone.
I didn't even
Host
think
one,
this year. I can honestly say I didn't have one thing to prepare for their own show up that
Our
day.
girls were at Springfield. Their sectional was at Springfield.
Greenview.
Yeah, Greenview Golf Course in Springfield. We had 2 kids qualify for Golf State. Chance Westerfield was the boy that qualified out of our sectional, and Kara Colvin was the girl that qualified out of the Springfield girls sectional. And they go to the state golf meet is Saturday, September 23rd, not this Saturday, and they play that at Kellogg Golf Course in Peoria. So it's quite an honor. We have 2 kids, and I think Kara, the 3rd year, she's qualified 3 straight years, and this is Chance the 2nd year. And they only take the top 12 kids out of each sectional. So it's quite an honor to go. I think, I'm not a golfer, some of you might be golfers. I think par at Eagle Ridge is 72. We had a kid shoot a kid in our, it wasn't our kid, a kid shot a 73 and another kid shot a 74, and the one kid was a 5th grader.
Wow.
Shot a 73, didn't he? It was unbelievable.
When it shot a 73, 6-putted 8.
Yeah, and he 6-putted there, he would have broke par
Yeah.
for Eagle Ridge.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Which tees the kids just take?
They hit off red, they hit off the women's
Okay.
tees, but still, par they said was 72, and he 6-putted one of the, they had trouble with one of the greens because
You ever played out there, number 8, about like that?
yeah, they
You
had
missed it.
number 8, so we're pretty happy with our golf program. The last page, that's our fall stuff. Girls basketball's going now. They actually have their first game this Thursday. It's actually a home game. We play at home Thursday against Westville. We also, just like last year, the IESA, we have a state tournament again, the 2A girls state tournament for 7th graders. It'll be at Paris High School. That's Saturday, December 2nd, and Thursday, December 7th. That's quite an honor for us because we had schools they come from all over the state of Illinois for that class. We had schools from over by Quincy, we had schools from up by Chicago. So it's really good for our town, and it's good exposure for our school, and it's actually kind of fun to host. Crestwood was in it too last year and got 3rd. The last thing, Mr. Larson, we talked about this. We've replaced every sport at Mayo's had new uniforms in the last 3 years. So we've kind of had them on a rotation thing, and also Scholastic Bowl got new shirts too. So we try to keep up on the current stuff, between the Booster Club and some of the revenue we make for the district, and it's not been all district money, the revenue we make off these tournaments.
There's 2 primary sources of that. The one is because Mick is constantly donating his time and hosting all these different state tournaments, sectionals, regionals. he's able to make a lot off concessions. So good for him for giving the time to do that, because he gives right back to the kids. And the second reason why is because our Booster Club parents are
Really good.
extremely generous. And so they've really been able to work with us. And then we also are able to fundraise. So we kind of do like a third. And like for track, they did little jars where they
Right, we've
collected
done all
money.
kinds of fundraisers stuff.
Yeah.
I won't tell you how much money we made off of hosting the state tournament, because I don't want Crestwood to know how much money we made, but I'll tell you guys. But I don't want the paper,
How much you make?
I'll tell you individually. I ain't having the paper, listen, they'll be the one to host it, so we did well. We did real well. Last thing I put on here, I want to thank the Board of Education and Jeremy's support athletically has been really good, but also, without all the volunteers, our booster club, but we use tons of volunteers for all our sports. If it wasn't for having volunteer people that come in, we couldn't host regional sectionals or state tournament. I mean, we can't pay everybody that does everything for us. I mean, I can give you a long list from Lauren Randall to just everybody, to the golf. We had to have 20 observers on a Tuesday. And, you know, we couldn't pay them, and they came out and helped us. They had to follow kids around the golf cart. So the volunteers have been tremendous for us athletically at Mayo. And I'm sure Jeremy, anything we do at Mayo, but athletically, they help us a ton. So anybody have any questions? Tom?
I know kids fund their own equipment for golf, don't they?
Yes.
Do you ever have a need for people to donate?
Yeah, we
clubs?
have had some people. There's a golf parent group that fundraises for that. They ran concessions, they do other stuff. So yeah, it's completely self-supporting. We don't,
But
not a dime.
do you
of our
accept
money.
donations of
Yeah,
equipment?
we'll accept anything the
Okay.
CASA have if we want to. They've done pretty good. I mean, it's kind of expensive to run that program because we're paying I guess we call him a coach. Well, but I mean, we're paying somebody that helps teach. Our kids have lessons like 3 days a week for, how long is that? 2 months? 3 months? All during the summer.
May, June, July, August, and it's 3 hours every lesson, 3
Right.
times. a
So
week.
kids
Three
can take
times a week.
lessons. We get a lot of starter up kids, but they teach them golf, so, and numbers have been pretty good, so,
Truthfully, we're to the point we probably need someone, we almost need 2 golf.
yeah. We almost need somebody to teach, I don't play golf, but, you know, the swing, but we also need somebody to teach them how to play certain, you know, different holes and where to, what clubs to use, which,
This longest distance in golf is 2 years.
Yeah, but we think we found a volunteer for
we
next
did.
year, so we're working on people.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
You did a great job, man.
He really does do a good job. Next, we have employment. 2 head coach positions have opened up within the district due to the retirement of Jennifer Whiteman and Mary Lou Irwin. It is the recommendation of Darla Davidson, who is our food service coordinator, that Sharon Evitt be designated as the head cook at Carolyn Lenz Elementary School, and Mary Schweitzer be designated as the head cook at Mayo Middle School. You will see on your at your table when you came in, it showed you the salary breakdown on that. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear as to how that's been calculated out. At this time, I ask the board to approve the employment recommendations for Sharon Evitt and Mary Schweitzer to be moved into the position of head cook at their respective schools.
So moved.
Any further discussion? At this time, we have a motion and a second to approve the employment and recommendation for Sharon Evitt and Mary Schweitzer to be moved into the position of head cook at their respective schools. Please respond. Ida.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Mathis.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
No full yes.
Next is employment. Ralph Doherty was the driver for Paris 95 for the past year. This past week, Ralph Doherty passed away after his battle with cancer. The district has sent flowers as condolences, and Ralph will be missed. Jim Carrick has been filling in for this position for the past week after his retirement with Boyd's Construction. He actually retired August 31st and has been assisting since then. It is my recommendation to employ Jim Carrick as a driver for Paris 95, and that rate is $13.22 per hour. At this time, I ask the board to approve Jim Carrick as a driver for Paris 95.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? We have a motion and a second to approve Jim Carrick as the driver for Paris 95. Please respond. Idle,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
No fools, yes.
Okay, next is our board adoption, or our budget adoption. The Board of Education Finance Committee met this summer to review the budget, and in August, the Board of Education reviewed the budget. Since then, the state of Illinois has approved the funding formula for school districts. However, the budget I recommend tonight has not been changed since the summer finance committee meeting. It has not been changed since there are no new state numbers. ISB reports that new numbers will come out in December. It is my recommendation tonight to adopt the budget that was reviewed by the finance committee, and after the release of the new numbers, the finance committee would reconvene to develop an amended budget that accurately reflects the revenue for the state of Illinois. So the budget that we have tonight has not been changed. It is a deficit budget. We are being very conservative with the numbers that we have presented to us. I recognize that state funding formula has changed, but until they actually release the actual numbers, it's not meaningful to amend a budget at this time or to change it when you're only gonna have to amend it a year. I would recommend that we would amend this second semester, probably January or February, once we have better numbers to work from. This is a very conservative budget that we're working from, it's very similar to the prior year. Are there any questions about that? The other thing I want to say is that one major change to this is the 1% sales tax revenue. That 1% sales tax revenue is going into capital projects. So like when you look at the fund balance this month, you see a $77,000 deficit in there. And you might think, why are we deficit spending on capital projects? It's because the revenue will come hopefully in October to November. And then you'll get quarterly payments on that. The plan is, and it's outlined in the budget, 1/3 of that would go to be paying for projects like the boiler, 2/3 will be going for debt reduction. So that's outlined in the budget. Any other questions?
Have we done any inquiries about debt reduction changes in terms of?
Yeah.
financial?
Yes.
I wanna elaborate.
So I have reached out to our bond counsel and have asked them, should we at this point talk about refinancing our bonds so that way we can get at a lower interest rate? Due to the state of Illinois not paying, or not having a budget, it's actually one of the worst times to refinance your bonds because we're at like junk bond status or right around that area. So right now is not a good time to refinance. In fact, what they would almost recommend is at this time, you could almost put it into certain investments for a higher interest rate. And so that's one of the conversations I'll be having with them as we get closer to make sure we get the most bang for our buck. And they were talking about you put it in like escrow. There's different options. So when we get there, that will be a conversation we'll need to have. At this time, I ask the board to approve the FY18 budget.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? If not, we have a motion and a second to approve the FY18 budget. Please respond. Idle,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
No fools, yes.
Okay. Next is the waiver of school code, and this is specifically for tuition waivers. This is very similar to what we did last year for a waiver of the school code in regards to the school calendar. The Board of Education has made proper notification to the public, the State Assembly, the State Board of Education, and the Association of Paris Teachers to inform them that we will be voting on a waiver of the school code that will allow full-time employees to enroll their children in Paris 95 at no cost of tuition. And I make sure to say at no cost of tuition because you still pay registration fees and other associated costs. It is my recommendation for the purposes of teacher recruitment and retention that the Paris 95 Board of Education approve the waiver effective for the 2018-2019 school year. Once you guys approve that this evening, then I will send a packet off to the General Assembly, and we will hear back later in spring once they approve it. And it's my understanding they would approve it. At this time, I ask the board to approve the waiver of school code to allow full-time employees to enroll their children in Paris 95 at no cost of tuition.
So made. Second.
Any discussion? If not, we have a A motion and a second to approve the waiver of school code to allow full-time employees to enroll children in Paris 95 at no cost of tuition. Please respond. Item.
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Mathis.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Okay, next is the first reading of policies. We have 6 policies. I'm gonna go through these and just give you an explanation of what's been changed. On 2260, that's the uniform grievance procedure. It's the exact same policy, only we took Connie's name out and put my name. Okay. On 6180, it's called.
180 or 680?
680.
Oh, 680, I skipped, I apologize. I think I might have to come back to 680. Okay, on 6180, it is the extended instructional programs, and the language has changed to reflect the way that the state board and the law currently calls that. So that's what 6180 is. So for example, sometimes you hear vocational education, workforce education, adult education, so they updated what the terminology is. On 6210, we have instructional materials. We adopted that just as press has it. We did make a modification to that though. And the modification to that one is that on 6280, or on 6210, the modification was is that I'm required annually to give the school board a list of all textbooks. We post that online. So instead of me manually giving you a copy, just know that that's public online. Okay? Does anyone have any concerns about that? Okay. Next is 7275, and this is orders to forego life-sustaining treatment. I know this sounds kind of like a strange one, but it's a policy that we have had. Basically, it outlines who's on the multiple disciplinary team whenever you're having those types of conversations with families about, those severe medical conditions. On 870, it's accommodations, it's accommodating individuals with disabilities, and specifically what this one is talking about is Title II requires us that if there's someone who is blind, they're also able to access our district website still, which we do have that accessibility feature. 680, I'm gonna go grab out of there, I know what it is. 680 is that if there is a performance at the school that the superintendent is responsible for making sure that that performance is appropriate. Like an assembly, for example. We modified that by saying superintendent or his designee, that way I can delegate some trouble over to these two. I wanna grab
So I can't do red
No, 680, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I apologize. Yes, it's called Teaching About Controversial Issues, is the topic of it. I have it on display here if anyone would like to see it. So at this time, and then this goes on display for 30 days, and it will be on the website, and people can give input. At this time, I ask the board to approve the first reading of policy 2260, 680, 6180, 6210, 7275, and 870.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? If not, we have a motion and a second to approve the first reading of policy 2260, 680, 6180, 6210, 7275, and 870. Please respond to the motion. Idle.
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Mathis.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Okay. Next is the first reading of job descriptions. The Board of Education Policy Committee met to review job descriptions as reviewed by the Board of Education attorney. These job descriptions are being updated to reflect current roles. All Paris 95 faculty and staff have been informed of these job descriptions and allowed to give input. This process will stay open until the adoption of job descriptions at the October board meeting. So we met, I personally sat down with Emily Vaughn, the APT president. We've emailed this out to all the teachers. We're allowing feedback in this. I will keep you updated if there are any changes. And I think this is a good way to do it so it doesn't feel rushed. At this time, I ask the board to approve the first reading of the Paris 95 job descriptions.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? A motion has been made and seconded to approve the first reading of the Paris 95 job descriptions. Please respond. Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Next is a fundraising request. Jessica Mayhew has requested to conduct a fundraiser for the art program at Memorial Elementary School and Carolyn Wentz Elementary School. She's the art teacher that goes back and forth. Gary Gagne and Amy Perry have both reviewed the fundraising plan and support this decision. All proceeds will go to support the elementary art program to purchase supplies. At this time, I ask the board to approve the fundraising request for the elementary art programs.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Motion has been made and seconded. Would each member respond to approve that, at this time, to approve the fundraising request for elementary art programs? Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Okay, next is the recognition of schools. Annually, the Board of Education must submit an application for recognition of schools to the State Board of Education. This application includes the Creative Center for Children, Memorial Elementary School, Carolyn Wentz Elementary School, Mayo Middle School, and Paris High School. At this time, I ask the board to approve the annual recognition of schools application.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion?
We have to, file an application for the high school.
I'm pretty, do we file?
They have to do it.
Oh, they do? Oh, then I take that out, I apologize. I didn't know there was a Paris 95 high school and a Paris school or high school. So we'll take that out, I apologize. So, I wonder, okay. This application includes Creative Center, Memorial, Carolyn Wentz, and Mayo Middle School, what we'll be voting on. I apologize. So at this time, I ask the board to approve the annual recognition of schools application.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the annual recognition of schools application for Memorial, Carolyn Wentz, Mayo Middle School, and the Creative Learning Center. Creative Center. Please respond. Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Okay. For informational items, one of the things that will be coming up is the evaluation of the superintendent. This is about the time we did it last year. One of the conversations I think needs to be had is, do you want to modify the form or do you want to use the exact form as last year?
I like the form. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's got a section of comments.
I'm thinking we decided to shorten it. I don't think we ever did.
Yeah, I think that you guys might have had a conversation about a few of them that you wanted to change, like the wording, but you guys wrote NA instead, you wrote non-applicable at that time.
Yeah.
So it does not matter to me how you guys would want to do that.
I think of the ones we had the options for, this still remains the best choice in my mind. True. But if you want to modify it, we can go through it.
I mean, I like the idea of what we had. The only thing we might have tweaked was one or two lines on it. But other than
I
that,
think if anybody, my suggestion, if anybody wants to tweak it and bring your tweaks to the October board meeting, and we'll look at the tweaks then. Unless anybody's got a tweak they'd like to talk about now.
The only thing that I would ask is that, once we start the process, like you would let me know before and not after. You see what I'm saying? Just so it's fair to me, but I'd be perfectly fine with any modifications you guys want to make. So if you have anything, it would be by October, and then that's a conversation you guys can have in October if you would like, in executive session. The other thing that I recommend, it's up to the board, I just think this would be a good conversation, is there's, the board can do a self-evaluation, which since I've been superintendent, we have not done board self-evaluation, and I don't think it would hurt to at least have a conversation. I don't think you necessarily need to rate yourselves or the board, but I think there could be a meaningful conversation, and you have that in executive session. I think this could happen, it could coincide together with my evaluation. And I think that's one of the things we can kind of talk about how we interact. So I want to be real specific. The superintendent evaluation is 2 executive sessions. One, we go in and I talk, you guys have a chance to talk. The second one, and then I leave, and then you talk. And then the second one is you guys finalize it, ask me to come in, you present a formal rating. I think at this first one, as I talk with you, I think one of the conversation pieces can also be, how are we interacting as a board? You can ask me to leave during that part, or you can ask me to be a part of it. There are 10 or 11 effective principles for good school board governance according to the Illinois Association of School Boards. So like, for example, does the board clarify the district's purpose? You know, and I think it's my role also to be working with you guys, so like we have the strategic plan, for example. So I think just going through those different principles and having there's 6. I think having a conversation about those and asking, are we monitoring performance? You know, are we delegating authority? Are we taking responsibility? I think that wouldn't hurt to have it that first one, and then you can have me as a part of that, or you can ask me to leave and talk amongst yourselves. But I do think that's something worth having. Are you guys interested in that? Not interested in that? I won't be hurt either way, but I don't think it hurts to have a conversation about, do you guys think you're functioning well? Is there something I can improve in our relationship?
I agree with you. I think it's probably a good idea to evaluate.
Well, I think personally that we maybe think we're interacting well, but you may have some thoughts on that too that we probably need to hear. And that's probably a good conversation to have.
And all of that would happen in executive session. It's just an evaluation. I think it's a good opportunity for us to talk to one another. So, in other news, is the pilot program. So I am so proud of this. So every ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act, they have a committee at the state level called IBAM, the Illinois Balanced Accountability Model Committee, and they actually just created a rubric, and I actually follow their agenda minutes and everything to see what's going on at the state board, and I go on monthly through, and I see that they just came out with their rubric to evaluate schools, and that matters to me. I like to stay ahead of those things because I know if you're going to end up judging me on it, I don't want to know now, so I can start to make small adjustments. So people don't feel like they're getting smacked in the face, you can work towards something. And so I actually reached out to one of the attorneys on the committee, and I said, may I have a copy of the rubric? She told me, no, it is not for public dissemination. So I emailed her back and I said, well, I'd really like to be involved in any capacity because our school district has already taken the step to write an entire school district improvement plan with the community focused around these standards. That's how we structured it. She said, that is so cool, I want you to be part of the pilot, and sent me the rubric within the next 15 minutes. And so I was very proud of that. And it's a 23-page rubric schools will be evaluated on. I feel good, not about having a 23-page rubric to evaluate me, but I feel good that we can start to work on those things now rather than feeling later on. So for her to send that within 15 minutes after I was able to show, look what we've already done. And she even emailed the state board and said this guy needs to be part of the pilot. So we'll get to do that. And so I think that's really good. We don't have to do any more work because we've already done the work. So I think that's great. The other part is the 5 Essential Survey. The 5 Essential Survey is a state survey that monitors school culture. So it's not just good enough that students, are learners, that we can show academic achievement. We also want kids to be happy. We want them to be nurtured. We want them to be in a safe environment and feel challenged. And so that's the idea of a learning culture survey, which we've always done really well on. So hopefully we do well again this year. That survey is where students have an opportunity to rate their teachers, parents have an opportunity to rate the school, and teachers have an opportunity to rate us. And it's completely anonymous, and it's where they walk in. So I know a lot of people think, oh, well, anyone can go in there and take it. No, kids have state codes, they go inside, Parents go in and type information, teachers have emails, so it's, I mean, it's a locked out system. This year, we've always done it K-8, well, it's K-12, our purposes are K-8, and then, the students are only evaluated at the middle school and high school level. This year, we're dropping it down to 4th, 5th. That's a pilot program we're gonna participate in. We don't have to, but since it's going that direction, we're gonna just go and see how it goes. So it's worth it. So those are 2 pilot programs that we're part of. Our PBIS program, I reported, last month that we were part of we got recognized as gold. All 3 schools got recognized as gold. We were very happy about being recognized as gold. That's great. They actually came back and told us that they messed up on the Memorial and Mayo's applications, and we were supposed to be platinum, which I'm very excited about. So that's even higher. And there's only, and just to put this in in perspective, there are only 40 schools in the state of Illinois who are designated as platinum. Paris 95 has 2 of those schools. So I think that's pretty good. I also want to say I think gold is good. I was happy about gold. I think gold is outstanding because for a long time, and I want to give Memorial credit. Memorial has always been a high scorer. Mayo has always struggled. We've always been silver. So we have actually been one of the laggers, but so it's a pretty positive thing. PBIS, just to remind everyone, is positive behaviors, interventions, and supports. It is teaching kids how to behave well and supporting them when they struggle in those behaviors. Committee meetings, we do have a safety committee meeting that you're more than welcome to come to. With first responders this Wednesday. You don't have to come, but you're welcome to. I publicly posted it. I'll also have sandwiches there. So Nancy, if you want to come and record anything, you're more than welcome to. So that's September 13th at 5 p.m. at the board office. And then also we need to be having another policy committee meeting. I know we just had one, but we have a few policies we need to review. And then also parent-teacher advisory committee and behavior intervention committee need to happen sometime soon because those are annually required by law. And we want to collect input and we want to do it early on. One thing that I think is super important this month that needs to happen is there needs to be an evening where we get together and we have a workshop on the new funding formula. I have a PowerPoint from the Illinois Association of School Business Officials that we can look over. It's 27 different indicators. I just think we need to have a better understanding as it's coming at us. What does that mean? So I'm going to try to plan something one evening, and hopefully as many of us can make it as possible.
Is that something I can come to too?
Absolutely, and I told the teachers that too. We call it, it's absolutely public, and if we're all together, it's public anyways, but I just think we need to start to educate ourselves right now on it, so we can ask better questions as we get closer. I don't want to be asking, I'm going to give you a good example of one that I did not know until I started hearing about it is, 27 different indicators tell you how much money you should be spending, or it tells you how many teachers per kid, things like that. Well, one of the indicators is technology. Well, I heard if you're a tier 1 school, which we're tier 1, which means the biggest funding gap there is, you can actually apply for another $228 per a kid for technology use. Well, I don't know where that application is.
Yeah.
So just little things like that, you gotta be listening.
Yeah.
You have to have understanding. I told my teacher, I was telling the principals, homelessness effects. Are we accurately identifying all homeless students? Is everyone filling out their lunch application? Because those indicators are going to be huge. And so we have to make sure we know what the definition of all these are, that we're properly identifying and doing our child find services. So we have to do this properly. And so we need to do due diligence and not just let it be. And so that's something we need to work on.
Do we have homeless kids in our,
Yes, we
in
have.
the elementary schools?
Yes, yeah. We have homeless, and then I think one of the things, there are homeless where it is, I had a student who their parent was living in a car, okay? And that child was living with another family. You know, difficult circumstances. You know, but we have the Echo Shelter that we have kids that go to, that's near Mayo. But we also have to recognize that the definition of homeless is broader at the federal level, which we're governed under, than we realize. So homelessness can also be on doubled up with another family. So it could be that my mom and dad split up, mom no longer has a home, I'm living with my grandparents. That could be homeless, okay? So there's a much broader definition. I mean, there's more circumstances go along with that to identify it in timelines, but there's a definition that we need to understand and properly identify, which I think we have done a good job of it. But I think it even now, before it was make sure we give services to these families, which a lot of times they come to us and tell us they need services. But now we recognize that also is attached to funding, so it goes the other way as well. Are there any other questions? That ends the superintendent's agenda.
Report on committees, public hearings and petitions, unfinished business, matters for follow-up, new business, right to revert to prior order of business, executive session. We have a motion for adjournment.
So made.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.